5:59.
We are the New York Knicks. I'm back. Back in the New York. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks is taking no shorts, just like winter. New York, New York.
New York be about the Knicks, huh?
But the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K-S.
Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Go New York, go New York, go!
Everybody, welcome to the New York Knicks podcast, part of Dash Radio. This is episode 559. I am Jay. Mark, we're doing an episode where the Knicks won a trade.
Sorry, what? They won a what?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's you're telling me the Knicks won a trade. That's the first time the Knicks have won a trade in a year?
A year. That's two in a row, though.
That's two in a row.
Have the Knicks had a trade winning streak since we've started this show?
They had a trade losing streak for a long time.
For the first 11 and a half years of this show, I think.
Something like that. I'm sure there are trades they won or they maybe have won small trades that we're not thinking of. But last year around this time, the Knicks traded Dennis Smith and a second-round pick. I think it was like a round pick for Derrick Rose.
Yes.
It was a gigantic trade. I think Detroit was just doing Derrick Rose a solid, letting him go play for his former coach Tibbs. It worked out tremendously for the Knicks. The Knicks went on. They were having an okay season, and they kind of just took off after Rose got here. The Knicks have now made a second move, or another similar move, right before about a month from the deadline, or a few weeks from the deadline, and they traded for another point guard, right, Jay?
Another point guard. You can never have too many point guards.
Right, they got a starting point guard who's going to be just like Rose, and everything is good, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, not quite.
Not quite. But they got someone who's interesting. Jay, I imagine you're positive on this trade. I'm positive on this trade. It's an interesting move.
This
right?
is the first move the Knicks have made, I think, ever where everybody agrees it was a good move. I haven't seen one negative comment about this. I have seen some very negative comments from Hawks Twitter.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot of negative because I spent some time today in a subreddit known as the Cam Reddish Therapy Group, in which Atlanta Hawk fans were very solemn today. Not very happy. Yeah. Hawks fans are understanding the trade to some extent, hate the return, and I have to say, and we're going to talk more about this, it's an interesting trade. I can see this being a trade where the Knicks are like, wow, what a great deal, or it could be a nothing burger.
Yeah.
Like it could very easily be Cam's not all that great. And doesn't hit potential, never hits. And yeah, I mean, basically, so the terms of the trade, Jay.
Yeah, it was not much. I mean, the Knicks gave them Kevin Knox, who was the longest tenured Knick, believe it or not.
No draft pick will ever get re-signed. We're just keeping this policy. Knox, when he got here, the Knicks were like, oh my God, Knox is so good. That summer league performance. I think the biggest highlights, Knox's best highlight as a Knick was in his first summer league. Pretty much that was the peak of his that was the peak of his time as a Knick.
So the Charlie Ward streak continues. So it's Knox, this year's first rounder from the Hornets, which is top 18 protected. Looks like it's going to be around the 20th pick. Fine.
Right. So I guess the pick next year becomes top 16. The year after that's top 14.
It'll probably be conveyed this year, though.
Maybe
have a free fall.
Currently Charlotte sits at 20th, so it would be conveyed this year. If they fall a little bit, then it might not be until next year. Either way, you traded a first round pick. Let's say
a low first round pick. Yeah.
Everything else in the trade doesn't really matter. The Knicks got a second round pick via the Nets that from 2025. The Knicks have also 30 second round picks from 2023. So I don't care about a second round from 2025. It doesn't matter that much.
It's
They got
Brooklyn. It's Brooklyn's second round pick from
It-
2025.
I mean, Brooklyn could be bad then, but it's still way off in the future. They got Solomon Hill. Solomon Hill, whatever you want to say about Solomon Hill as a player, he's an expiring contract and he's out for the season, so he's just cap filler in this. The only relevant, and Knox really is not relevant either. I mean, he'll play for the Hawks. He was done as a Knick, right?
Yeah, he was only playing in garbage time, so it was really Reddish for a low first round pick. The Knicks also had to waive Arcidiacono.
I'm sorry, who?
To make room. The guy they signed like 5 days ago.
Oh, well, gotta cancel that jersey order.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's an interesting what the Knicks got. Cam Reddish is 22 years old. He's got a lot of potential. In theory, he has some him and RJ should play well together because they're both on Duke together. The Knicks basically trade for a guy with potential. The Knicks can Cam after the season, they could choose to extend him after the season, or they can give him a qualifying offer. I think it's a qualifying offer and keep him for next year. They basically have this guy for a year and a half, and they can fully evaluate him in the next year and a half. My understanding from the Hawks standpoint was the Hawks have a lot of guys they're paying right now, and they have to pay going forward. They're going to have to pay DeAndre Hunter. They just paid Kevin Huerter. They obviously paid Trey's contract. I think starts the big part of it kicks in next year.
Collins.
Collins obviously they just paid. They also that guy that center they got drafted last year. They're going to have to pay soon. They just didn't have Cam wants. The rumor is Cam wants like $15 million a year, maybe $20 million a year. He clearly hasn't earned that yet. But the Hawks probably realized they weren't going to be able to pay him. He was getting 20 minutes a night. They also have a pretty deep team that I think for the Hawks, and what the Hawks fans have realized or are hoping is that there's another move coming. And as far as trade value, a draft pick, even the 20th pick in the draft, has more trade value than Cam does. In the sense of, like, Cam is Cam. You know who he is. You can judge him based on how he's played. A draft pick is this magical thing that can turn into anything. And if you're the Hawks and you're trying to trade for, say, Ben Simmons or some other big move, having more draft picks is helpful.
You can never have enough draft picks. Just ask OKC.
Yeah. Well, I think the Hawks supposedly, I mean, they're having a season that's not great. And I think they want to make a move and do something bold. So that's really where the Hawks fans are annoyed, but I think all of them are like, if there's another move, we're totally fine with that. Apparently also what I get basically from reading Hawks subreddit and Twitter and everything else is a lot of Hawks fans, people were in love with this guy. Probably for not beyond his actual play. Like there's some like this Frank Ntilikina type love for him from the Hawks fans. Himself, like how is he actually as a player, Jay? Like what do you see here?
He's athletic. His 3-point percentage went up a lot this season.
Right, but as we've seen, you can have fluky seasons with 3-point shooting. It can go up or down. Our very own superstar Randall was 40%. Barrett was 40%. Those guys, we can talk about Barrett in a second. Talk about the awesome Dallas game in a moment. But these things are fluky. So I don't know if he's really getting better. I mean, he's getting better. I don't know if this will be any consistency with this 3-point.
Oh, the Knicks have a year and a half to find out. I mean, the guy is the same age as Barrett. I believe 22. So
isn't Barrett 21?
I think he just turned 22. I could be wrong. Anyway, he's
Barrett is 21. He's not till June.
Okay.
He turns 22. But anyway, go on. Yeah, same draft class though. Same team in college.
Yeah, it's a young guy who hasn't gotten a ton of minutes yet. So this could
be not nothing though. He's gotten, and he was a top 10 recruit coming out of high school. He has averaged the last 3 years. His first year was 26, last year was 28, and this year he's getting 23 minutes a game. It's not like he's getting no minutes.
Yeah, no, that's
he's shown some flashes. He's had 2 30-point games in pretty recently where he just shot the lights out from 3.
And he looked great in the playoffs last year. He wasn't scared at all. The big moment.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of potential here, and he's still really young, and it's definitely there's almost no risk because
I mean, really the first round pick, and the question really is it worth taking this risk for a first? Like, if you like, some people have said like, if you basically had just drafted him with this first round pick, would you be pretty happy? And I think a lot of people would say, with this kind of potential, sure. I mean, this is worth the first round pick.
yeah, I mean, he was drafted 10.
He was drafted 10. I mean, Knox was drafted 8.
Yeah, that was a clear mistake.
He's a better version of Knox in many ways. He's a little more athletic. I think he's an inch taller also, a little bit more of a wingspan. He has some awareness on defense. He's shown some ability in one-on-one coverage. He's been like a good defender.
Mm-hmm.
He has work to do on defense, but he seems not like a willing defender, but not even just a willing defender, but he seems like he's someone that my understanding is someone that like actually has some defensive IQ. He has where Knox has willingness and just has no idea what to do on defense. Cam, in theory, can be coached up by, say, a really good defensive coach and made to be a good defender. He has potential on defense. If only we had a good defensive coach. Do we have one, Jay?
I mean, we're supposed to. It doesn't seem
fine.
I mean, the Knicks have been playing good defense lately.
No, the defense has looked a lot better. Let's get to that. And we can talk about the Dallas game and why the Knicks have looked better lately in a moment. But so you like this? What would you give this move if you had to give a letter grade, Jay?
I'd give it an A.
Wow.
I don't think there's much. I mean, well, now that the Knicks traded the pick, it's definitely going to be a Hall of Famer. But
right,
normally a pick around 20 is not going to be much. You got a guy.
I mean, we're pretty high on Grimes and IQ, and they're both taken after that. There are plenty of good players that are taken after 20. Like, let's not.
Yeah, but
it's a crapshoot.
But if you had to pick the ceiling, you would clearly pick Reddish over Grimes and McBride as far as what they can be. No.
Yeah, I mean, I guess ceiling, yes. I don't know I don't know if Cam is better than IQ right now, or IQ gives us in a better position. We'll see. I feel like Cam is a guy that there will be a lot of hope for, and fans are like, "Wow, this guy's going to be really good," and all that. When we see him play, we may deflate pretty fast. I think he'll have moments where we're like, "This guy could be awesome." It'll be a lot of like inconsistent potential, basically. He'll have some nights where he looks really good. I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens. I'm all about taking this risk, though.
Yeah.
My thought, even though I love draft picks and I hate to move draft picks, for a guy that's 22, we're going to have for a year and a half, has a lot of potential. It's a worthwhile move. Plus, I mean, the Knicks can only fit so many draft picks on this team. Their first pick, obviously it's going to be a higher pick than that. Or not obviously, but it may be a higher pick than that. You got that to fit on the roster. And the Knicks aren't really in full development mode. It seems like a reasonable thing to do. I don't know. And they got the Dallas pick. They got the second Dallas pick next year, right?
Yeah, I just feel like the whatever they're going to get at around 20 this year is not going to be as good as Reddish. So it was worth it.
That's fine. I'm going to give it a B+, because I think, generally speaking, Cam Reddish is worth around the 20th pick in the draft. I don't know. I like the trade, but I don't know it's quite the fleecing everyone thinks it is.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah. So how does Cam Reddish fit in on this basketball team?
Well,
by the way, his do you know what nickname he has? According to Basketball Reference, kind of guess his nickname.
I'll never guess it. The nicknames on Basketball Reference are insane.
I like this one, Killer Cam.
Okay,
that's not a bad one. And what would you, if you're going to call his fans? Would you call them Cam Heads? Would that be like a good one? Sure. There's a lot you can do with his name.
Redheads. What was
that's true. That's
what was Kevin Nomad's writing? What was Kevin Knox's biggest moment as a Knick? I think facilitating the Reddish trade.
The summer league, that whole season where he his biggest moment was when he won Rookie of the Month in like the month of December in his rookie year.
Mm-hmm.
That was really his peak. When people were like, "Oh, okay, not bad." he also proved the theory that just giving minutes to rookies means they're going to develop.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I mean, a lot of people saying he didn't have a chance. He played like almost 30 minutes a game.
He had a lot of chance. Yeah, his rookie year. His second year, he got less minutes than his rookie year, but got plenty of minutes. The dude has no awareness on defense. He can hit some threes. He can do some things on offense. He's terrible at finishing at the rim. I know he had limited minutes this season with the Knicks, but I also think Tibbs watched him in practice and was not sold on anything he was doing in practice.
Magic Grandpa said the Fortnite jacket on draft night was the beginning of the end. I agree with that.
Whatever. Anyway, I like Cam. There's zero chance Knox will be back on the Knicks this next year, so it's a good risk. Okay, so how does Cam fit in? The question really is, he was averaging about 23 minutes a game with the Hawks. You see his minutes being around the same with the Knicks, 4 minutes.
I feel like there's got to be another move because
Why?
There's a lot of guys that are playing the position that he's playing. So
Who? He's a small forward, right?
small forward, maybe a 2.
He's 6'8", and also he's not the best shooter. So I don't know if we really want to make another shooting guard that can't shoot. I mean, really, he's got a lot of wingspan. He's a wing. He can really guard wings, and he's switchable. As far as defense, I don't really know. I mean, I guess you could argue he's a 2 also because he's supposed to be a shooter, but he's not quite a shooter yet.
I think he takes Grimes' minutes, unfortunately.
Yeah, that seems like the most logical. Grimes has looked really good on defense and his shot. Like I love what I see from Grimes so far. There was a rumor that the Hawks wanted Grimes to be included. A lesser organization known as basically the pre-Leon Rose Knicks would have said, sure, take it, whatever. But Leon Rose stood his ground and said, go F yourselves, Hawks, take it or leave it. And the Hawks said, sure, we'll do that.
Yeah. So I Grimes and probably some of Fournier's minutes. And
So you're guessing that the Knicks might move on from Fournier. Is that what you're saying? Or Burks. Those are the two guys that basically.
I'm saying they would probably like to move on from Fournier. I don't know if they're going to get anything for him. I mean, he's making $17 million. It's really hard to.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I don't know what Leon Rose is thinking, but I would trade Fournier. I think a solid trade for the Knicks would be trading Fournier and getting back cap relief.
Yeah.
That would be a solid trade with a trade. No, and Fournier's looked actually a lot better lately.
It's not a knock against Fournier. It's just right now there's too many guys for the minutes available, and he is the odd man out because of his defense.
I actually thought it was a knock against Fournier because of his defense. I think that he hasn't looked as good as we'd hoped, and I'm fine with moving on from him. Moving on. It was actually, I don't know how this is not a knock against Fournier. You gave him a lot of money in the offseason, and now you're like he's expendable.
Yeah.
It's completely a knock. He's our starting shooting guard, and you're like, we can move on from him.
We can replace him with literally nothing.
Because Cam really. Fournier is a much better, up to this point in their career, Fournier is a much better shooter than Cam Reddish. There's no, hopefully Cam will get to Fournier's level, but he's not as good a shooter as Fournier.
Right. Yeah, but, he's a better defender, and the Knicks need that right now.
Well, it's hard to say also what the Knicks, I understand you're thinking the Knicks might do another move. Burks has value, but really the value, in some ways, he'd also be worth maybe a 20th pick in the draft. But I don't know if the Knicks are going to trade Burks to get a draft pick if they just traded a draft pick in the sense of I think the Knicks want to, I don't know, they want to be competitive. So I don't know if they're going to trade to make their team worse from a roster standpoint.
Right. Do you know that Reddish is shooting 1% worse than Fournier from 3?
Oh, no, I did not know that. Also, Fournier's had some rough, I think overall, track record-wise, and Evan Fournier, just, look at his career. He's a much better shooter career-wise. He's consistently shot well from 3. Cam Reddish has shot well from 3 for half a season.
Yeah, I mean, Fournier is a career 30, 39%, 38% 3-point shooter, which is
Right.
it's above
And
average.
it's not league like, yeah, he's a good 3-point shooter. I mean, just there's no like you can say a lot of things you can knock in 48 all you want in this show. But his defense sucks. He's a good shooter. He's streaky. And sometimes he like looks like clearly sometimes he scores 0 points in a game and sometimes he scores 41 points in a game. But the dude can get hot from 3.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy's been in the league for like a decade, and he's shooting 40%, almost 40% from 3, or 38% from 3. Cam Reddish has been in the league for 3 years. His first 2 years, he was kind of garbage from 3.
Yeah. Well, he was injured most of last year. I mean, in the playoffs, he was 9 for 14.
Fine. Yeah, no, he's had a couple good games. I'm not saying he doesn't have potential, or like, but he wasn't a good shooter in college. He kind of sucked at Duke. He got drafted based on the potential he showed out of high school. And obviously he has like the size and everything and athletic gifts. He's getting better, and a lot of Hawks fans have liked what they've seen from him. And I think we're gonna like a lot what we see. I don't want to knock Cam Reddish. I'm just saying, like, are you really arguing he's as good a shooter as Evan Fournier?
No, I'm just saying it's. I don't know if the disparity is as big as it seems.
I mean, Evan Fournier at least can shoot from 2. I mean, like
he's only shooting 1.5% better from 2 this season too.
Okay, it's a little. What is he? Yes, he's a little closer.
He's shooting 41.5. Reddish is shooting 40. Neither of them are good, but
Evan's having a down year. Yes, whatever. I think Evan's a better shooter. I don't think this is really that. I think there's some separation between him and Cam Reddish, where if Cam became as good a shooter as Evan, we'd be very happy.
Yeah.
Fine, whatever. I saw someone on Twitter where they were like, if you eliminate they're like, Cam Reddish is a 46 percentile shooter, but if you eliminate all his long 2s, then he goes to 70%. And someone was like, well, if you eliminate everyone's long 2s, don't they all go up? He's like, well, yes. And they're like, what kind of fucking analysis is this?
Yeah, if you eliminate the shots that don't go in, he shoots a really good percentage.
I mean, like, if you don't count shots from more than 5 feet from the basket, Mitchell Robinson's the best sharpshooter in the game.
Yeah.
You could create anything with these dumb statistics. Anyway, I like Cam. I don't want to knock him. But anyway, so what moves do you think are coming? What do you think is going to happen? Like, do Evan Fournier gets moved? Is he getting moved for cap relief? Is he getting moved for what's coming next?
Either cap relief or maybe they try and move him with one of the either Noel or Mitch. I'm just thinking.
You think the team is? So the team pulled to 500 last night. They've been playing a lot better. Do you think Leon Rose is ready to go, throw in the towel, and like see if I can move on from some of these contracts?
It's not throwing the towel, but what if you think you're better with somebody like Turner?
I mean, fair. Yes. They make a big move for a guy like Turner. That I can see them getting traded. I don't know if that trade's really coming. Also, the Pacers aren't really that great, so I don't know how. I mean, Turner adds a lot more. It's interesting because, so I did last show. I did a whole rant about how much Mitchell Robinson basically sucks and we should be done with him. He looked mighty. He had a great game against the Mavericks last night. He's looked a lot better lately.
He's been playing good since that episode, just like Barrett's been playing good since the episode before that when you trashed Barrett. So who do you want to trash this week so that they start
I want
playing?
to trash Obi. Obi Toppin has looked like crap, and I hope this will help him play better, but he's really looked bad lately. He's lost out there. In some ways, I wonder if his minutes will suffer because he's just been garbage. Obi, listen to what I'm saying. You're garbage. I need you to put up 20 points and 20 rebounds next game. Do it.
He's definitely going to do it now that you called him trash because that's just the way the show goes. Got to make us look
just
dumb
the way
at
it
all
goes.
points.
So the Knicks beat the Mavericks last night. They didn't just like squeak out a victory. They beat them every quarter that they played. They just outclassed them last night. RJ, the youngest Knick to ever have back-to-back 30-point games, he kind of abused the Mavericks last night. But you know what? So why have the Knicks been good lately? Why has their defense been good? One of the reasons is their centers are finally getting healthy.
Yeah.
Mitch, I felt he's been really slow a lot of the season, and his instincts still I don't think are amazing. but he looked a little faster last night. He looked a little more agile. The Knicks also did something very smart. They said, Dallas does not really have any bigs that can challenge Mitch. Why don't we feed him the ball and let him dunk a lot?
Right, right.
That seemed to be a good strategy. They should beat the crap out of any team that does not bring a center to match Mitch.
And,
Like,
and honestly,
anytime-
we haven't seen a healthy Noel pretty much all season. That
Yes.
was a huge difference maker too. He played
Huge.
a good 20 minutes last night.
I have to say, I said this last show, but I think a healthy Noel. What's better, a healthy Noel or healthy Mitch, Jay?
I think a healthy Noel, but if Mitch starts coming on offense like he has the last couple games, and not that he's been setting the world on fire, but 11 and 13 points, I believe for Mitch, that's a huge improvement. So
Mitch adds a lot. Like his putbacks are good. His hands are obviously much better than Noel's.
Mhm.
I think Noel, the two of them when they're healthy, I think Noel's just a better defender. I think he's a flat out better defender. He's more aware than Robinson is at all times on defense. He had a great play where I guess Luka was dribbling, had gotten the ball, was dribbling up, and Noel came up from behind him and just knocked the ball out of his hands.
Mhm.
And I was like, I miss Noel and his fast hands so badly.
yeah.
And I think actually it didn't actually end up with the Knicks getting the ball, but it was a pretty cool steal or swipe from Luka. By the way, Jay, you love Luka.
Mhm.
Has he been going to? Does he go to like Chinese buffets with Zion? Why is he so out of shape?
He is out of shape, and also he's a bad 3-point shooter. Like bad.
So actually, he's not. First of all, he's not out of shape like Zion, but
No, but
Luka
he's
is
NBA out of shape.
He's NBA out of shape. He's never looked cut or physically like he's not the specimen some other players are. And he's admitted he probably in the offseason didn't work out the way he should have. I really wonder if his ceiling will always be limited by, and I'm sure he works hard compared to a normal human being, but he doesn't have the Kobe Bryant, Jordan, LeBron insane work ethic that you really need to be a great player in the NBA.
Yeah, also shooting 31% on 8 attempts is not good. Do you know, you want to guess his basketball reference nickname?
His basketball reference nickname is something I'm not gonna be able to guess.
No.
The Serbian suitcase. What is it? I don't know.
First of all, he has 10
Slovenian.
he has 10 nicknames already.
Okay.
One of them is Swaggy L.
Okay.
That's not good. El Nino Maravilla.
Okay.
Luca Legend. El Matador. Isn't El Matador bad?
Yeah, they might be driving his. He's not a very good defender. I like Luka Legend. I mean, he's obviously a very, very good player.
The two I like are Cool Hand, because that's a reference to Cool Hand Luka, and the Don. I like those two.
Did you think you just didn't think any of our listeners would get that?
I don't know. I feel like we're old, and Cool Hand Luke is an old movie, and they might not get that.
I tried watching that movie. It really, I didn't seem that great of a movie. I mean, like I'm sure it's a great. I watched like half the movie. I got kind of bored.
Oh, Anthony is saying El Matador is like the killer. I was just thinking of Matador like letting a bull run past you, which is what he did last night.
That makes more sense, basically, but not to have one of his nicknames on Basketball Reference to be like an insulting one.
No,
I mean,
Nomad says previous Knicks head office would have traded for Westbrook. Thoughts on how the Lakers experiment is going?
Not well.
I sent Mark a montage of Westbrook hitting like the top corner of the backboard for like 2 straight minutes.
The clip, it's all from this season.
That's what I was halfway through when I was like, oh my God, he's in a Lakers jersey in every single clip.
The clips, everything is Westbrook just missing the basket, like either coming up short or way too, like just shots that are just not freaking close. And everyone misses a shot. Like, first of all, everyone misses baskets. Everyone has a couple shots that are kind of embarrassing. The montage was going on. So I'm like, I don't know if I really want to keep watching this. I get it. Like, it was like a minute and a half in. I'm like, there's like 2 minutes to go. How long is this clip be? It was just like him miss like big. And I'm like, this is all And yeah, I had this realization halfway through. I'm like, I fast forward to like make sure he was in the Laker jersey the whole time. I was like, can this really all be from this season?
Right.
Anyway, I'm sure there are Knicks fans out there and some part of the organization that's like, I bet we could get him. And he's still he's a Hall of Famer. He's just a hard player to play with.
Yeah. All right, we got 10 minutes. Let's do some questions.
We've got a lot of questions.
I'm gonna read
anything else you
our,
want to say about the Mavericks game last night?
No, it was just great. It was a great team effort. We had a rare Barrett and Randall playing good on the same night. Randall's shot wasn't really there, but he rebounded and passed, got 8 assists, over 10 rebounds. So,
yeah, he was very. I mean, like, also the one thing I missed from that game is that I would have liked to see KP healthy for that game, so he could have got stomped on.
yeah.
But we got a bunch of questions. So
Let me just read our ad first. Our
please.
sponsor. DraftKings Sportsbook is here in New York. You can bet on all your favorite sports right here. The Empire State on top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app. You know DraftKings for the daily fantasy contest, and now they brought their expertise to sports betting so that sports fans everywhere can get in on the action. DraftKings Sportsbook offers you everything you'd ever want from a sports betting app, from player props to same-game parlays. They have it all. You can now bet on all your favorite sports from the comfort of your home on one of America's top-rated sportsbook apps, DraftKings Sportsbook. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. So check out DraftKings and tell them I sent you by using promo code NYKP. That's promo code NYKP. DraftKings Sportsbooks here in New York State right now. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full details. Must be 21 plus. Physical present in New York. Gambling problem, call 1-877-8 Hope, New York. All right.
by the way, just a betting tip out there. So if you find out, say, right before a game that Draymond Green is going to just be in that game for like 8 seconds, you should bet the unders for his stats that night before they're taken down. If everyone should take a look into that. I don't want to go through the whole story, but it's a pretty crazy story and how a bunch of people made a ton of money. Jay, is that an insane story?
Just stacking up under parlays for every single conceivable stat for Green. And he played the opening tip and then fouled and left because he just wanted to play Clay's return game, but he was hurt.
Right.
And so these sportsbooks lost millions of dollars because people were doing like 8 stacked parlays.
It was announced right before the game that he wasn't going to play. He was just going to be there for opening tip-off because of Clay being back. He walked right off the court, and they left up basically the unders for his. And of course, he's going to score under 8 points when he's not going to play in the game. So you want to bet that.
I'm so mad we missed out on that. That was my out from working again.
That was my retirement.
I know it was.
Okay, Garrick writes, who is moving on for this rotation to work? I think we've agreed Grimes, right? His minutes will suffer a little bit. Fournier?
Maybe Fournier a little and maybe Obi a little.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know exactly how Obi's would lose his minutes in a sense, unless you want to play Cam at the 4. But Rob writes, maybe you go extra small with him. I don't know. Rob writes, does this trade justify trading back in the draft to acquire the Hornets' top 18 protected first used in this trade? So the Knicks had last year they traded the number 20 pick or 21 pick. They traded that and they got this pick instead.
And Grimes,
are we glad? Right? Yeah, well they had 2 picks. They had I think they had the 21st and the 23rd pick, or 20th and 23rd. That second pick became Grimes.
Right.
That was traded back, became Grimes but this pick only ended up being the Hornets pick. Anyway, are we glad we didn't draft anyone at 20? So we got Cam?
Yeah, I think it worked out.
Yeah, sounds fine.
I don't know if this was the vision the entire time, but it worked out, and now they can claim this was the vision the whole time.
Every guy you take at 20th pick in the draft or around then is a gamble. They got a young guy who's a decent gamble, and a guy also. It's not the nice thing about this is not a Dennis Smith type situation where the team he was on was like he sucks and was going to trick you into like we just want to get rid of him anyway.
Right.
The Hawks weren't dying to move on from him. It's more like it just didn't fit in their future plans
Yeah.
because of salary and yeah. Adrian writes, what will the minutes look like and who's out of the rotation? We said that already. George writes, we're obviously getting, oh, this is the point we should have brought up already. We're obviously getting Zion now, right? That Duke team had Zion, had Cam, and RJ. One of these guys is still missing. Are the Knicks getting Zion, Jay?
Well, if they do, hopefully he loses about 60 pounds before they get him.
Yeah. Might be more than 60, Jay.
Yeah.
I
think he gained 60 and he was overweight before he got injured.
If you're a Pelicans fan, does it sound good when the future of your franchise, when his season consists of him just saying, I hope to play this season?
You know, he's their longest tenured player.
Real? No, he's
I'm
not.
pretty sure.
No, Brandon Ingram was on the team before they but Zion.
Was he?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm 100% positive. I don't have to even look. I'm positive. They didn't get Ingram after. Yeah, if you're a Pelican fan, you're like, holy shit, this guy's not going to play this season, and he's gotten really large. If you're the Knicks, and let's say there's an offer on the table, I don't know. Let's say a Pelicans like, we'll give you him for Randall. Would you do it?
No.
I guess basically, forget who the Knicks have to give up. Let's just say there's an offer where the Knicks could get Zion. Forget who they're giving up, but if they get Zion, they have to also max him when they get him. So, like right now, he's on a rookie deal, but he's got to be extended. As part of the deal, the Knicks will give him like $150 million. Would you do that? Would you take that risk on Zion?
No.
Why not?
I don't trust Zion like having a healthy career. I just don't. By the way, Ingram and Zion started at the same time.
No, they didn't.
1920.
Did they really?
Yeah.
I thought so. They got Ingram as part of the Anthony Davis trade, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't on the team the same before then?
No.
I mean, I know I should just trust you, Jay.
It's been 13
not
years
like
and
just.
you still
I'm
call
not
me
going
out.
to Basketball Reference to look this up because I trust Jay. I've known Jay for so long. I would never just like double check what he's saying. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Whatever. Has Zion's been in the league for 3 years now?
Yeah, but he's
I guess
played
obviously RJ's in his third year. Yeah.
But I mean, the amount of games Zion has played is like, I don't even think he's hit one season's worth of games yet.
How much did he play his first year?
He played 24 games, then he played 61, and so far he's played 0 this season. So 85 out of 200 possible games.
Yeah. Dan writes, I read a report on Bleacher that Cam and RJ were teammates, but not best friends, in quotations. You think that's the writer making something of nothing or something to worry about? And by the way, I want to say the Knicks getting Cam, I think has nothing to do with them getting Zion later. Whether they do or do not get Zion, this is not how you recruit. Do you think getting Cam has anything to do with their future plans to get Zion?
I don't, and I also don't think that they would have got him if him and Barrett were like hated each other.
Yeah, I'd agree with that also.
There's an awful lot of pictures circulating of the two of them like hugging and smiling and stuff.
But I'm not, again, the Knicks have no plans to go after Zion, but they did sign Zion's grandmother to the 15th roster spot. So I'm not saying, again, I'm sure they wanted Zion's grandmother. Nothing to do with Zion. Yeah, I agree with you. I think the writers just making stuff.
That was Mark
trying
Berman.
to make something out of. Like, I bet they were like not best friends, but I'm sure they were fine. Like, I'm sure
that was Mark Berman. He's never said anything bad about the Knicks.
Paul writes, should be good for Hunter on my fantasy team.
Yeah,
fair point.
Yeah, definitely.
Jan writes, I think this move basically indicates that there's going to be another on the horizon at the trade deadline. Do you think that they view Reddish as part of the future or a piece for a future trade?
I think they are going to keep him and move somebody else.
I agree. I'd be shocked that they moved. I think as far as trade value, I think the 20th pick has more trade value than Reddish does. Just again, the whole like, what's behind the draft door? Like, what kind of
Yeah.
no one know, you don't know what it could be, so it has like more potential.
Yeah.
Do you think so, Jay? Would you say you think another move's coming? Do you think a big move is coming or minor at the edges type moves?
I think it's probably going to be more minor. I think we all want like a big blockbuster move, but I feel like it's going to be a little underwhelming.
Should they even make a move? If they're going to make a move, should they make a move to get a point guard, Jay?
I mean, always. You could ask that question anytime since we started the show in 2010, and the answer would have been yes.
You want them to get De'Aaron Fox?
Yeah, let's do it.
Anyone else that you would be like the Knicks should really go in for? Point guard wise? If you're going to make a big move?
I mean, I would really like Jalen Brunson. They'll probably have to wait for the offseason for that.
I mean, someone made a point about Jalen Brunson in the sense of he's going to command a big contract. He also didn't look exactly amazing last night against the Knicks, but he's going to command a big contract. The Knicks have very little cap space. They would have to force some kind of sign and trade.
Yeah.
The only positive about that is Dallas is known to like Knicks, so they might be able to work a sign and trade out because the Knicks have Knicks on the team.
That is
Dallas
true.
likes that.
That is true. The Knicks have a lot of Knicks on the team.
Bill writes, Randall for Zion. I didn't read this question beforehand, but it's funny that he mentioned that. LOL. In all seriousness, I think this may be a first part of a bigger planned trade. Reddish wanted more playing time and has an expiring contract. Reddish's contract is not expiring. The Knicks have the right to bring him back next season on a qual. Like they can make him a what is it like?
A rookie qualifying offer, right?
Yeah, it's qualifying offer. Yeah. So like the Knicks, he can't leave basically if the Knicks don't want him to leave.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think he's not going to just naturally get more playing time. He could earn more playing time. It'd be tough for him to get 30 minutes a night in this roster.
Yeah.
Not sure if the Knicks are able to give him the minutes he's looking for, nor will they want to give him $20 million a year.
Yeah.
Though, you know what? He's here next year. Maybe his 3-point shooting even gets better, and he starts showing his potential, and maybe then he earns the money. Brian writes, whose business does Reddish eat into? Grimes. And Patrick writes, I love it.
All right. And we have one question in the chat. Nomad says, any update on how my fantasy team is going? He's been killing it, top in his league for 9 weeks. Well, I've had 6 to 7 guys out every week until last week, where I won 6-3, and I am up 8-1 right now because I actually have a healthy team, but I'm in 10th, so I have to scramble for a playoff spot now.
How many teams make the playoffs? 8?
8. I'm playing 9th right now, and I'm up 8-1. So,
I mean, the season doesn't end. Your fantasy season doesn't end for a while, I assume.
No, and pretty much everybody got either injured or COVID already. So, I think I'm in good shape. Powell and Caruso should be back soon, and then I'm fully healthy.
And you got Clay, which is in theory, that should. You've held him on the bench on your disabled list or whatever for so long. You should be pretty. He's finally back.
Yeah, he's back. He's playing pretty good, and I think his shooting percentage will start going up. He's not going to shoot under 40% for the season.
Hey, so the Knicks play Saturday. You think are we still going to see Cam on Saturday?
I don't know. He has a tweaked ankle. He probably wants to come back for a revenge game, so hopefully he's icing that for the next 3 days. Good thing there's a long break. Maybe he doesn't even have to travel to New York. He'll just stay in Atlanta and play them and then move up.
It is funny they made a trade with the team they're playing next.
Yeah.
So, all right, Jay, are you here's a question for fantasy, actually. We can have the show after this. Are you going to pick up Knox for his 1 game against the Knicks?
Yeah, I know. He's definitely going to drop 20 against the Knicks and then never be seen again.
I predict Knox shoots 14 for 14 from 3 against the Knicks. Knicks fans are just all of themselves crying that we gave up Knox. And then he's out of the league by the end of the season.
Yep, that sounds about right. So thank you for listening, everybody. NY Knicks Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Patreon. The New York Knicks Podcast.com is our website. And If you want to join us live, we are Crumpled Bacon on Twitch and TITOWAJ on YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for joining the chat. Anthony, Nomad, Magic Grandpa, thank you all for chatting. And we will be back soon. Yep.
Oh, also, I just noticed I looked on Kevin Knox's Basketball Reference, and one of his nicknames is actually Crumpled Bacon.
Oh, yeah. Is it also Sayonara, out of the league, sucker?
Yeah, that's it.
All right. We'll be back soon. Thanks for listening, everybody. Check out our comedy show, The Brink of Sanity. We'll be doing more episodes of that soon as well. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.